KristineParma.com. I am back with another quick business training today, and I want to talk about how you actually have sales conversations with your prospects in a way that doesn't feel icky, slimy, or sleazy, or that you're doing anything outside of your value set or integrity, but that you can still close the sale and you can still sign up clients more easily. So I wanted to pop on with these tips for today. So let's dive right in. If you have comments, then please comment in the box and I'll be happy to answer questions. If you're catching it on the replay, you can also comment on the video and I'll be happy to answer you. And just tag me and I'll get you back some feedback and answers. And also, before we move on, if you don't know who I am Christine Parma, and I help mama CEOs build their profitable, soul-fulfilling businesses without working 24/7 or giving up what matters most to them. So, and you can find me and find out more about how I work at KristineParma.com. Okay, so let's dive into how do you have these sales conversations. Now, I'm going to preface this with, I guess, the requirement that you have, the assumption that you have actually identified and you know who your dream clients are. You know who your ideal clients are and who you're speaking to, and that your messaging and your offer aligns with what your dream clients really, really want, and help solve the problems that they feel like they urgently need help with. So that's kind of the prerequisite to, I guess, even getting to the sales conversation part. Although you may, a sales conversation may come up in, the form of when you're at a live event or a networking event and you're just having a conversation with somebody. So, when you find yourself face to face with somebody who you feel like would probably be a great client for you to work with because you know you can help them and it actually seems like somebody that you would enjoy working with, then the first thing you have to do is help the person to articulate what their problem is. What is the problem that keeps them up at night? What is the problem that they worry about all the time? What is their number one biggest challenge or problem that they face? And help them to articulate that problem. Then take them to the flip side. So, you're stuck in this problem. Let's say, let's say that you're, wanting to launch your own business, and the number one problem that they have is, they have kids at home. I'm just going to talk from my experience here. They have kids at home. They're wanting to launch their business, and they feel like they have no time. They feel like, and that they're overwhelmed by all of the advice and the list of to-dos that they feel like they have to do in order to launch their business. So then take them to the other flip side. So they're clear on what the problem is. They've got their hands full with their kids. They've got a crazy busy schedule. They're overwhelmed. They don't know what to do next. So what's the flip side? Well, the flip side is, and you can say, well, if you had a magic wand, you could, wave a magic wand, and you could have your miracle solution, what would that look like? And they'll tell you what the miracle solution is that they want. In this example, it may go something like, I just wish that I could find the time in my day to work on my business and be a great mom too. And I wish I could actually feel great about the job I'm doing in both. That I can work on my business and actually get things done, be productive, and see progress in my business and start making money in my business, and I don't feel guilty about the time that I'm not spending with my kids. I don't feel bad about, working on my business when I could be playing with my son at the same time. And then on the flip side, when I'm playing with my kids, I wish I didn't feel worried all the time about all these things that I, feel like I have to be doing to launch my business or grow my business, so that you're never really present in both. So it's like, how do I create the time and actually to make progress in my business and feel like an awesome mom? So you take them to the flip side and help them envision what their life would be like if they have this miracle solution. Imagine what your life would be like if da 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 da. What would that feel like? What would that look like to you? How would that be for you? And then here's the really, really, really important part. Hi, Julie. Good to see you. I'm on a bit later than usual. As the mompreneur juggle goes, sick kids at home, right? So here's the big, big important part is emphasizing, or emphasizing isn't maybe quite the right word, but articulating and helping the client, your potential client, to see the gap that exists between where they are and where they want to be. Because it's in that gap that the tension happens. Excuse me, I forgot to mute my computer there. So the tension isn't bad. Tension is that feeling that you get when you really, really, really want to do something, but then like your inner doubter starts to talk, and is maybe like problems to where they want to be, so that they can see that they're not there. And this isn't a manipulative tactic. It's actually just kind of reflecting reality to them. You're at point A, you say you want to be at point B, there is a gap or distance to cover, and I can help you do that. And that's when you make your offer. You can say, you said you're here, you're struggling with this, you said you want to be here, and guess what? That's exactly what I do. I help, and then you talk about how you help people. And, if people, somebody may say, yes, that's perfect for me, that's right for me, you may get those answers and those really quick answers and commits that happen. Hi, Mahir, good to see you. Or somebody may say, wow, that's really interesting, could you tell me more? You could tell them more about your program or your service, how you work with your clients and how you help them. And there also may be, the people who are hesitant. And I don't want you to take this as, it can be hard sometimes not to take it personally when somebody says, oh, I'll think about it, or no. If you have a really powerful offer, that'll still happen sometimes. It'll happen less if you have a powerful offer that really connects with your clients, but it'll still happen. And what happens when people are faced with the gap between where they are and where they want to be, people get uncomfortable. Now, discomfort is not bad necessarily, but what happens in the brain is the brain doesn't like discomfort. It likes to be comfortable. It likes for things to stay the same. That's how we're programmed evolutionarily, if that's a word. I'm not sure if that's a word, but it's my word today. So people get uncomfortable and they kind of go, they can kind of retreat into the safety zone. And the safety zone is what they know. It's their current reality, even if their current reality is not what they want. The fears come up. So, in the sales conversation, part of your job is to help them see those fears for what they are, if that, comes up, and to kind of hold them to making a decision. A lot of heart-centered entrepreneurs get very uncomfortable with this part, even the whole sales conversation part, because you don't want to come off as somebody who's pushy or sleazy or manipulative, anything like that. But here's the thing. If you believe that you can really, really help people with what you do, and the person you're talking to is, it's obvious that they could benefit from the work that you do and the services that you provide and how you help them, then you are not being of service to that person when you kind of let them off the hook, too easily, or you let them stay stuck. I mean, there's only a certain amount you can do. Of course, you can, lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But when you're talking to them, one of the ways you could say is, that's actually a very kind of feel-good way to do it, is, I invite you to work with me. I invite you to join my program. This sounds like it would be a perfect fit and really help you solve this problem, and talk about the problem. And these are the kind of results that you can expect. And I invite you to join me. And if they say, well, I'm not sure, I don't know if it's right for me, then you can, if it's a real sales conversation, you can say, well, I want to help you make a decision because I know staying stuck where you are, you already said it's not where you want to be. And I know it's not the best place for you to be if you want to get to, and then you can describe some of where the different reality, the new reality that they said they wanted. So, I would like to help you make a decision about this, because staying stuck in indecision doesn't serve you. And I want to make sure that you get the help you need, either from me or someone else. And you can offer an incentive of some sort. Maybe it's a bonus. Maybe, I'm not a fan of discounting your services, but you could, offer, special discount if that feels in alignment for you. You could say, well, if you commit to this right now, then I will throw in and add your bonus, or I will, we'll work on a payment plan if it seems like a financial objection is what's keeping somebody from committing. There's lots of ways that you can help people to get over that last little bit of fear and hesitation about saying yes to working with you and saying yes to being in your program or even in your course. If it's a course, you're probably doing it more through the messaging on your website. So these are some ways that you can have sales conversations that actually feel good and feel in integrity. And if you're centering yourself in your heart and in actually being of service to somebody when you're having these sales conversations, then you're much more likely to have effective sales conversations and actually feel good about the conversations you're having. Let's see, Mahir says, I usually offer an intro rate and it works very well. That's great. Yeah, you can say, maybe you're not ready to commit right now to the full 90-day program. I totally understand that. How would you like to work on this problem? And you can kind of describe how you'd work on it. And, we'll put together, I have this intro package. And, it's kind of like the solution B. And it'll introduce you to how I work. We'll still get, XYZ result for you, a smaller result. And then if it feels right to you, we can always, you can always move into the longer program and we can work together longer to solve the bigger problem. So yeah, that's definitely a great strategy. Thank you for saying that, Mahir. Sales conversations and sales in general is one of those topics that I think a lot of women shy away from, and a lot of entrepreneurs who are very concerned about serving, and well, I guess if you're in business for yourself, you are concerned about serving, but I really want to make sure they don't come off as too pushy or, slimy in any sort of way. And there are, when you follow this format of a sales conversation, you're really leading the person you're talking to a natural conclusion. You're essentially just being the guide or the facilitator. Because when you do it right and you're showing them the problem and the solution and the gap between, and you make a heart-centered invitation to work with you, if it's actually a good fit, then you're not being pushy or slimy or sleazy. And the person, if it's the right fit, will say, oh my gosh, that totally makes sense to work with you because you can help me get to where I want to go and solve this problem that I have. So that is my business training for you guys today. If any questions or comments or aha moments pop up after we've concluded the live stream training, then please put them in the comments. I would love to answer those questions offline for you guys. And if you like the video and think that it's something that could help one or two of your friends, please share it with them. The more people who are out there selling with integrity and ease, the more businesses will thrive, and I believe the more goodness will be done in the world. So I would love to hear from you guys. You can post in the comments, or if you want help in creating your offers that help set up sales conversations, you can find out more about how I help my clients do that at christineparma.com, and I would be thrilled to talk with you about that. So thank you, Julie. Thank you for the likes. And oh, I forgot to tell you, if you want to just grab a quick cheat sheet on how to create your own irresistible offers, and it will actually really help structure your thinking and organize your thinking around
even when you have the sales conversations. You can grab the Irresistible Offer Formula cheat sheet at christineparma.com/offer-formula. Okay, well, that is all I have for you guys today. Thanks so much for joining me, and I wish you an amazing rest of your week. I wish you amazing success in your business and your life, and as always, shine brilliantly. See you next time. Bye-bye.